Alrighty, a very, very happy Tuesday, and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is April 14th of 2026. I'm excited to be here, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in as well. We inch one day closer to WrestleMania 42, a two-night event this coming up Saturday and Sunday, and we will begin our conversations off with some professional wrestling that leads right into some WrestleMania talk. Trying to pace it out over this week. I don't want to give you too much this week early on and then really have nothing to show for it. But I think it's time to really start just diving into some of these matches, giving you my opinions, my takes, and getting ready for WrestleMania 42. As you guys can see, for those who are watching, another wrestling t-shirt, try to keep it as clean and professional as possible. But this is actually, this is the tale of the take between Andre the Giant and Braun Strowman. This was a shirt that I received in a was it I don't remember what package it was, but it was one of those monthly subscriptions that you sign up for. You get kind of like a random box of shirts and stickers and patches and magazines and comics, and it's a fun box. I'll have to get the name for it. It was quite some time ago, but we'll talk about the wrestling review Monday Night Raw of this past last night, and dive into um, some wrestling talk here. Also, going to jump ship into the Reds as they begin a new series. They'll continue their homestands at Great American Ballpark tonight as they await the San Francisco Giants. Something that I personally think, you look at opportunities provided. We dropped the series to the Angels. We split the series with the Marlins, and we just want to find a way to bounce back, find a way to get back on the winning track. And the Reds are meaning business. They're taking things seriously. So we'll talk about that in this hour. And then the Cincinnati Bearcats await their game against the Xavier Musketeers. This is the second time they meet this season, so we'll get into that conversation as well. But, you know, the final Raw before WrestleMania 42. What did you guys think? Uh, you know, hmm, just kind of wanting to think strategically before I kind of say anything. I expected last night to go as is. And, you know, I think we saw just enough information to paint us the picture. So, yesterday I asked you guys on this show, what did you guys think the overall road to WrestleMania? How did you feel it was perceived in your opinion? The emphasis, okay, of your opinion. And I say that because my opinion is going to be my opinion. I may be talking nonsense to some people, but this is how I have incorporated and taken away from these feuds. So, sure, we have one more show, Friday Night SmackDown. Before it's all said and done, the road to WrestleMania is complete, and we get to wait WrestleMania 42. But if you asked me right now, today, to give you a grade letter for the road to WrestleMania, I'm going to give it a C plus. You know, I want to reiterate the understanding that injuries happen and fan base will speak their mind. And if it's anything in comparison to years past, what we see is that this Reds team or this this WWE organization has made adjustments to give fans what they want. And so their belief is to put the best product out there, which I think is a reasonable statement, no, but it didn't quite click to me on some of the moves and the setup of how WrestleMania was being built back in January. I was scratching my head. I was trying to put two and two together. I was honestly trying to figure out, well, what makes sense between Liv Morgan and Stephanie Valkyrie. And is Roman Reigns and CM Punk the best option for what the WWE has to offer in a main event of WrestleMania? And so early on, I did struggle trying to put those pieces together. And I understand that a lot of this was, hey, we want to sell tickets. Let's start announcing our marquee matches. And, you know, Liv Morgan, Roman Reigns are set, Royal Rumble winners are marquee matches. Then there was this dead space where the WWE did not move an inch until after Elimination Chamber, where we then were given two more matches. In the meantime, we did know that Brock Lesnar was going to be an attraction at WrestleMania. We just didn't know who his opponent was going to be. Then we had a few more matches, and it wasn't up until this maybe two, if not, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, that we started, we saw signs of feuds wanting to see, that we wanted to see take place at WrestleMania. But what didn't become official until about 2 weeks ago. And so if you're a fan that bases their purchase of WrestleMania tickets off of the match card that is at WrestleMania, well, I'm not buying $1,000. I'm not spending $1,000 alone just for tickets, just to see Roman Reigns and CM Punk. I'm not spending maybe I'll spend $1,000 on tickets to be there to watch Roman Reigns and CM Punk and then Randy and Cody, but I got to see what the match card holds. So for me, the road to WrestleMania got off to a questionable start. It got off to a unpredictable start. I did not predict and project that Roman Reigns would have won the Royal Rumble. Matter of fact, I had Gunther winning the Royal Rumble. I mean, how do you have Gunther in the career of AJ Styles and then into the Royal Rumble later that night as dominant, as pinnacle to be on top of the WWE headlines, become the final two or three, and then lose? Well, I personally thought Gunther was maybe banged up. He was maybe hurt. And that's why I felt that that's the reason why they didn't push him to win the Royal Rumble match. Let's be fair, too. I felt a little bit unwelcomed to watch the Royal Rumble because of Saudi Arabia. I'm not saying anything against Saudi Arabia and the location. I'm just saying we didn't get the feedback, the crowd reaction that we typically would get compared to it being in the United States. So it's not like you can make this decision off the top of your heads, right? In the moment. But we did lead ourselves to, so I felt it got off to a little bit of a stale start. I feel like it kind of redeemed itself. A lot of twists and turns, and it kept the optimistic perspective under the field. So I do believe now that WrestleMania 42 is in a comfortable position. I think the match card itself is a B plus for the talent that we have and how we have gotten this far. But trust me, it was not a clean start. Monday Night Raw last night, the final show, the go home show of Raw before WrestleMania, taking place at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, featured a lot of promo cuts. CM Punk and Roman Reigns squared off one final time before their match. Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar both got a chance to have their segment. The best is to separate themselves. And then Seth Rollins and Gunther got into it. Triple H and Adam Pearce kicked off the show, announcing that Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar will sign their contracts separately to avoid further brawls such as the one that they ended last week of. And I love everything about Oba Femi and Brock Lesnar in the build-up to this point. And I asked myself yesterday, how could the WWE? Because I felt that the timing of announcing that Oba Femi be Brock's opponent should have waited a week or two left. Should have came more of a surprise. But they did what they did. So I was asking myself, well, how can they just finish setting the pace? And I'm going to go on a limb right now. Okay. I'm going to go on a limb right now and say that for me, we'll get into this here in a moment, but for me, Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi is a main event of this match. And if you're not going to be held at a main event, you're going to be the first match given. And for it to be on ESPN or ESPN2 for the world to see, I think the WWE, in a promotional standpoint, in an advertisement figuration, has blown it out of the water with this match. And I'm going to throw in the unsanctioned match with Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. So Brock Lesnar, Paul Heyman comes out. Brock signs the contract, and Paul Heyman says a few words, kind of his typical Paul Heyman teaming up with Brock Lesnar. That by the end of this, Oba Femi is going to be an afterthought. No one's going to remember his name. He's not going to be anyone because Brock Lesnar's the beast. So it was quick to the point, didn't need to sugarcoat it. And that's usually how comfortable Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi's matches or segments, or Brock Lesnar's Paul Heyman segments need to be. We get down to Oba Femi later on the card, who comes out and signs the contract. And then before signing it though, Paul Heyman appears for the second time to directly speak to Oba Femi. Paul continues to put Brock Lesnar over as an opponent and claims that everything he has built to this point will come clashing down in Las Vegas. In typical Heyman fashion, he told the ruler that his door is always open and when he's looking to rebuild his career. Oma response, something that we haven't seen since called up to the WWE main roster. Oba cutting a promo. Oba kept it simple. He's proclaiming that he is the ruler of the jungle. He is the new beast. He dethrones Beast. And that Brock Lesnar will be dethroned at WrestleMania. And for a split moment, Oba says, look, and calls it out as it is, Brock is scared. Oba knows it, the fans know it, and even Paul Heyman knows it. And you could just tell, and this is what I love so much about Paul Heyman, is the way and how invested he is into selling each and everything that he does in front or outside the camera angle. because you could tell in Paul Heyman's eyes that Obafemi may be correct. And so, is Brock Lesnar scared? Well, Brock Lesnar's last physically true opponent that can go maybe toe to toe with him in real life, maybe 5 years ago with Roman Reigns, possibly. Very skeptic about that. But had to honestly, before that, has to go back to beyond his feud with Triple H, maybe The Undertaker, maybe before that even. Brock Lesnar has very few challenged opponents that can actually go toe to toe with him at any given day. And so when you see a guy as big, not even Braun Strowman has been able to do it, not even Samoan Joe, but when you see a guy like Obafemi come out and manhandle and toss the beast incarnate, the 1 in 21 and 1 who broke the undefeated streak, the guy who snapped Triple H's arm and beat John Cena. He's beating guys like Kurt Angle and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. Every time when you think a new star comes to the top of the WWE, Brock Lesnar's there to welcome him and say, "You need to go through me in order to proclaim your throne." And Obafemi is another guy that he would have to go, that has to go through him. But I think what's intimidating is how quickly Oba's been able to clash. Oba hasn't had to prove himself. He hasn't had to have any accolades in the WWE. Obafemi has been toying, playing with toothpicks on SmackDown earlier this year. He hears that Brock Lesnar has a charge or has an open match, and he steps up. No hesitation. No one waited for an invitation. No one waited for Paul Heyman to give a handout to look for Brock's next opponent. And before Brock decided, hey, we're going to go after somebody, Obafemi makes the call. Probably, if not, my best match that I'm looking forward to when it comes down to WrestleMania 42. Seth Rollins on Raw attacked Gunther. They got into a feud. It seems to be who can get the upper advantage on the person, right? And it seems like maybe some cowardice is showing. Is Gunther too good for Seth Rollins? I mean, Gunther, what does he have to worry about? Didn't he not just retire not one, not two, but three Hall of Famers in the last year? And yet he wants to blindside Seth Rollins. And then when it comes time to come face to face with the architect, he runs away. Now I've already given you some thoughts to what I feel about this feud a little bit. I really still do like the Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, and I really, if I could make an early prediction or a hypothesis of what I would like to see happen, if Braun Breaker, I cannot confirm or deny, but if Braun Breaker is clear to return and they're just holding him off, which would be a very big disappointment to his career, to the WWE, to the fan base, because I'm looking forward to a for Braun Breaker to return. I was really looking forward to Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. But if he's able to appear and make some sort of involvement at WrestleMania 42, I like to see Braun Breaker cost Seth Rollins the match. It keeps the feud between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins going. You could build off of it. It also leads into and keeps keeps Gunther on the winning tracks. So I personally would like to see that happen if they could make it happen. I think that would benefit anything moving. There are a few matches on the card that you want to see progress beyond WrestleMania, right? It's not just a lead up to WrestleMania and then start over. It's what can we do to follow out it? And I could see a backlash match between Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. As much as I thought, and I just couldn't wrap my head on why and how does it make sense with Liv Morgan and Stephanie Valkyr back when Liv Morgan won the Women's Royal Rumble in January, I have come to appreciate and love this feud that Liv and Stephanie has been able to take. I haven't seen a chaotic side of Stephanie Valkyr, but if you push her buttons the wrong way and you really get under her skin, well, she's not afraid to go a little crazy. Now, we've seen what Liv Morgan has been able to do throughout just time and history. And trust me, when she wants to go crazy, the blonde goes crazy. And I do like these attacks. And last night on Raw, they both continued attacking each other. And, you know, Liv Morgan says something very, very interesting when she basically told Stephanie Valkyr, she was like, uh, the intense hatred between them two competitors led to several more shots, including a verbal one, which Morgan told Valkyr, I knew your mother was trash, but I didn't know she raised a little. I can't fill in the blank. You could do the rest for me. You know, I feel like these jabs, relations of Liv and Stephanie and Roman and Punk, that you can only speak too much. You really got to have good promo skills, and you really have to have some sort of leniency to what they're able to say and how personal they can go. And then we saw in the main event another feud promo cut between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Punk says and tells Roman, here's the truth. I hate you because I envy you. Punk said he hates that Reigns had wrestling handed to him. The OTC has competed in the main event of WrestleMania as many times as he has. He hates that he feels that way. He apologizes to Reign for taking Sika's name in vain and says he found his family and his people in the Indies. Punk said he hates that he has shared his first singles WrestleMania event with Reigns and vowed to retain his title at Las Vegas. So basically, we kind of crossed some lines. And Punk, let's just say, is jealous because of the historical wrestling decorated background that the Alani's family has carried. Roman Reigns and his past time. You talk about the Usos. You talk about The Rock. You talk about about the Indies that is thriving with so many family wrestlers. That this, when Cody says there's more than one, family in professional wrestling, he speaks the truth. And right now, this is an industry that has grown so much to the point where this family has taken over the WWE. Reigns admitted that he hates Punk too, and he hopes that one day, when he leaves, he is missed just as much as they missed you. And look, I think I was not as educated when Punk left the WWE. I know he says some things. To what reality of the things that he said in his original pipe bomb, changed the face of professional wrestling moving forward. But it was also a kind of, for me, it went right over my head because life moved on. Raw happened the next week, and we moved on from it. I felt personally at that time, as a young kid who, you know, like I said, didn't really understand at the time about the situations at hand. I felt that CM Punk up and abandoned us. That he thought he was bigger and better than the WWE, and that he was going to show everyone that he was that way by going to doing something like the at UCF. And I hated it. And I I can't sit here and say, oh, well, anyone could do it, because that's not true. A lot of people usually come from a different sport to WWE. So I give him credit where credit's due, but let's not deny the fact I'm not a fan of CM Punk. And it's nothing personal to him. I've been a short-term fan, but, like, in this situation, I'm just not a fan. I haven't been a fan since he returned. He vowed that he never returned to the place that treated him like garbage, and here we are. I just can't stand by it. I can forgive The Rock for saying, "Oh, well, I'm never gonna be this part-time person, or I'm never gonna leave the WWE," and then he disappears for so long of a time. I could forgive Roman Reigns. I could forgive, John Cena. I can't forgive CM Punk. You said what you said. You made your bed. Sure, it has impacted the industry, and I'll give you credit, undeniable credit. The fact that you're still relevant and you're still in the main event is what I and respect. I have respect for CM Punk, although I'm not a big fan of his. Let's agree to disagree. It's respect, love. But for me, Roman Reigns has been through it, and he is right now in my favorites. There's no more. I think it's fair to say that if you look upon these two men's careers, it's been completely different. And, Roman Reigns, don't think that he would have to worry about too much of when he leaves. He going to be missed. He's going to be missed. There's not going to be another Roman Reigns out there, and even his family ain't going to be able to live up to the expectations. I mean, he is at the Dwayne Johnson level, or if not, pretty damn close. So I just felt like Raw was a lot of promos, a lot of final statements, and it was a shut up and listen moment. Sure, you had some developing news as the six-man tag team match continued to just kind of become interesting. As last night you had a couple matches out there. You had matches for the women's tag team titles as Lyra Valkyria beat Charlotte Flair. You had Rusev, who's been kind of quiet in the latter match here in recent weeks, has kind of just annihilated and took out everybody when it came to um, last night's In the Ring, even Penta. So we are in full swings of WrestleMania 42. If I am assuming that WrestleMania 42 match card is locked and set, we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and just run through. Matter of fact, I have it here on our Facebook page. I just want to pop it up. But I just scroll through. On night one of WrestleMania, now both nights are going to start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On night one, the undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes will defend his title against Randy Orton. You see the Women's World Championship, Stephanie Valkyrie take on Liv Morgan. Seth Rollins takes on Gunther. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, AJ Lee taking on Becky Lynch. WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, Nia Jax and Lash Legend will take on Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Brie Bella, Nikki Bella, and then we'll also take on Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. And then we will see the two unsanctioned matches, or that the on no, it's like the two matches featured on ESPN2. In the first hour, we'll see Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, and then we see the six-man tag team match: Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and ISHO Speed take on Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and LA Knight. In night two, we'll see the World Heavyweight Championship: CM Punk take on Roman Reigns. The WWE Women's Championship: Jade Cargill taking on Rhea Ripley. The Demon Finn Balor taking on Dominic Mysterio. The United States Championship: Sami Zayn taking on Trick Williams. And we'll also see the two matches featured in hour number one on ESPN. That's Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, and the Intercontinental Championship ladder match: Penta taking on Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD Madonna, I can't even say his name right. I'm sorry. Rusev and Rey Mysterio. Excuse me. Allergies. Man, oh man, allergies are been killing. So, what do you guys think? I think it's pretty sad. For what is given, for what we have to see and watch and take out of WrestleMania 42, I can't complain. I think we're seeing a little bit of everything. I don't know if there's another match involved. My attention turns towards the other events surrounding it. You got SmackDown this Friday at 7:30 special start time, the Hall of Fame ceremony following it, kind of wanting to tune into that. Um, you think about night one, I feel like Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton is just staple to be the main event. Um, I don't see any other match on that card to replace that, and that's fine. Um, if I gotta choose who opens things off on both nights, let's be honest. I think that the WWE has the opportunity, obviously ESPN and ESPN 2, in the first hour has a chance to really have those like a big match. I think that Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre, the unsanctioned match, should be featured as the very, very first match of WrestleMania. I feel you could go around and take that for 30 minutes around the entire stadium. My only thing with that is I hope, yeah, like I said, I want this match to go beyond the barricades. I want this to go into the crowd, and I think it will. But, you know, when you think of two men to just brawl, to cause havoc, to bring chaos, these two men fit the bill perfectly. It's interesting because the magnitude of Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre to me seamlessly equals to Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. So those two matches, although they are in the first hours of WrestleMania both nights, those are main event worthy caliber matches. So what do you guys think? I am sitting on my hands, just trying to be kind and wait for the right moment to really start predicting and giving you my take. I believe that I will start doing that tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping for. Is for tomorrow. We also do want to talk about the WWE Hall of Fame here before we move on. The 2026 class of the class of the WWE Hall of Fame will be take place on Friday, the day before WrestleMania 42 on ESPN Unlimited, beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will feature a legendary lineup of inductees. In 1993, Andre the Giant became the first inductee, paving the way for the future generations of professional wrestlers. This year, the spotlight of WWE's Grand Slam champion AJ Styles and former WWE CEO Stephanie McMahon, three-time WWE Tag Team Champions Demolition, will also be inducted along with two-time WWE and WCW Heavyweight Champion Sid, Bad News Brown, and celebrity Dennis Rodman. This year's Immortal Moments, inducted at last year's Hall of Fame ceremony to celebrate historical matches, which I love that this is a new, unique little thing, will honor the renowned Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant WrestleMania 3. We'll go deeper into the look of the Hall of Famers later on this week. The Body Slam heard around the world, though, of the Immortal Moment is one of the most replayed scenes in WWE history at WrestleMania 3. Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant met in one of the company's most famous main events. Before their epic clash, the former allies became rivals during several Piper's Pit segments, where Andre eventually challenged Hogan for the WWE Championship. To this day, it is one of the all-time great build-ups to a WrestleMania match. It claimed record attendance of 93,000 fans at Michigan's uh, Pontiac Silverdome. Watch as Hogan struggled to body slam Andre early in the match. But as the match neared its end, he lifted Andre and delivered the slam, and the crowd erupted. The body slam ranks as one of professional wrestling's greatest moments. And it is. I think as a WrestleMania, as a wrestling fan, you look at a moment like that and it's kind of the staple, a Mount Rushmore to say. So I think it's unfortunate that both men are not here to be honored. Um, but man, that honestly, if you were a child watching wrestling and you saw that, right, WrestleMania 3, that may have been the pivotal moment of decision of, hey, I wanted to become a professional wrestler. So, well, that is it. We'll go over, like I said, the Hall of Fame talk a little bit later on this week. Before we head into some baseball conversations, NBA playoffs, the play-in brackets begin tonight on Amazon Prime. The tip-off begins at 7:30 p.m., where we will see Miami Heat take on the Charlotte Hornets, where the winner will inch the number 7 seed of the Eastern playoffs bracket. And then also tonight, we will see at 10 o'clock p.m. on Amazon Prime, the Phoenix Suns take on the Portland Trail Blazers. Let me make sure I have those games right. Yep, maybe. Let's do scores. All right. We'll get you the right information. Yeah. The Phoenix Suns host the Portland Trail Blazers, where the winner will advance. I think let's do the schedule. How does this break down? All right. So in the East at 7:30, we'll see the Charlotte Hornets take on the Heat. The loser go home. The winner goes to Friday to play in that round, that first game. In the West, okay, we will see the Phoenix Suns takes on the Trailblazers. The winner will be the number 7 seed. The loser will head down and wait to see the outcome of the Clippers and Warriors. Early predictions heading into this. I think that the Miami Heat will go on and win this match. They will advance to Friday. While the Portland Trailblazers, I believe, will go on and clinch the number 7 seed, while the Phoenix Suns wait for the winner of the Clippers and Warriors. The play-in tournament continues tomorrow as the 76ers takes on the Magics. The winner will clinch the number 7 seed. I think the 76ers will. And the loser will go into the final game on Friday for the 8th seed. And they'll face the winner of the Hornets and the Heats. The Clippers will take on the Warriors at 10 o'clock tomorrow night as the losers will go home. The winner will go on to face the losers of the first game tonight. I think that the Warriors will go on in advance, eliminating the Clippers. You can find all your bracket information out and your schedules and scores on CBSSports.com. Just a reminder, we are just about 4 days, 7 hours, and 15 minutes before WrestleMania 42. All righty. Well, the Major League Baseball Cincinnati Reds are back at it again as they get ready to host the San Francisco Giants in a 3-game series to wrap up their second homestands of the season. The Reds did not quite perform well over the weekend against the Los Angeles Angels as they hosted the Angels and they dropped 2 out of 3 games. They enter this game with a 9-7 record. They're hanging on very slightly, but it feels like some true colors are coming out as things begin to settle down heading into game number 17 of the season. This has forced the Cincinnati Reds to make some deals. Just last week, we saw Jose Trevino get placed on an IL dealing with an injury. And as he recovers, the Reds have decided to call up and to sign PJ Higgins, a catcher, to not only get signed to the 40-man roster, but to get called up to the major leagues. Now, this is despite Will Banfield, who was already on the 40-man roster. One of my questions is why doesn't the Reds have 3, 4 catchers on the 40-man roster? You think that injuries do prevail. Well, in order to sign someone on the 40-man roster, that meant that the Reds would have to DFA a player. And therefore, they have chosen to DFA third baseman Christian Encarnacion Strand. A designated for assignment just typically means, hey, we're going to remove you from our 40-man roster. In doing so, uh, you have an opportunity to be released from the organization, making you a free agent available to all ball clubs. You could be traded to a different team, or after the designated time, you could return back to the Cincinnati Reds minor league team without being on the 40-man roster. But that being said, they have earlier was announced yesterday afternoon that the Reds have traded Christian Encarnacion Strand to the Baltimore Orioles for some cash consideration. Christian Encarnacion Strand is still down in the minor leagues, but he will no longer be on this ball club's organization. I want to break this down real quick for you guys. Over the last 3 years at the major league level, he's played 130 games. He's only had 470 at bats. He's only had 109 hits, 17 doubles, 21 home runs, 72 RBIs, 21 walks, and 136 strikeouts. So think about maybe a third of the time he's striking out. Hey, we already have enough players that do that anyways. He was batting at the major league level, 233 with the 275 on base percentage. In 2025, he only batted 208. He recorded 3 walks, 19 RBIs, 6 home runs, and 36 ball games. To begin the 2026 campaign, he's only had 10 games. He had 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 double, 1 triple, 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 2 walks, 14 strikeouts, only batting 222. Now, the question is this a good deal? And I think that in reality, we have to look at this as well. First of all, the Reds needed to designate someone for assignment to make room for PJ Higgins. Was Christian Encarnacion the best deal? Well, I think this is a very clear statement that the Reds need to make. And this is not an easy choice to make. But over the 3 years, a 233 average is not what we're looking for. Okay. We have currently, when you look at between third and first base among the field lines, we have or we see Nathaniel Lowe, who's actually was supposed to be someone coming off the bench, and he's finding comfortability right now at first base. And if you play well, you're going to get a chance to be on the field. This is the bottom line. That's how the Reds play baseball. Well, Sal Stewart started the season off over there. You know he could play a little bit of first, even though I think he is a better ball player at second. Spencer Steer is another person who, although he now plays the outfield, he's had some corner options down there at first and third from time to time throughout his career. The other thing to take a note of, okay, is that we also have Geno Suarez, who could play third, possibly maybe play first base. Key Brian Hayes, who I don't think we're going to move anytime soon from third base. He's a defensive compatibility for us. And with that being said, where is the room for Christian Encarnacion Strand to come back up to the major leagues? You got to see a lot of injuries that happens. And I think even before CES comes back up, you would have probably put Noel Marte. We'll talk about him in a moment. But reality is 233 average, he's just not producing. And if he's not someone who we're going to slide in, give someone an opportunity. Cam Collier is someone who I think could fit over there at third. You got a couple of different options that we could look into, but I think it's for the best. Obviously, the last 3 to 4 years just hasn't turned out with the organization. And so I think the Reds being able to capitalize on some cash with this in this decision, I think you give CES another opportunity to make the headlines. Right now, I think he's in the minor leagues with Baltimore. Hopefully, he could turn things around. And look, I want to see success out of CES. So I wish him the absolute best of luck. But you know, that also ties along into the big talk that took place with the Reds yesterday. As we learned that they have decided that Noelvi Marte would be sent down to AAA, calling up Reese Hines, 6'3", 215 pounds, only 25 years old, right-handed batter, okay, righty for righty. Um, this decision, again, Noelvi Marte in 11 games, 29 at-bats, only 4 hits with 2 walks, 10 strikeouts and only batting 138. We had this open discussion about the Reds' offensive power, making wise decisions, best moves, and reality of this all, Noelvi Marte is not producing. And we can't sit here and have Will Benson and Marte and, guys not producing down there coming off the bench or being played. And therefore, we have to make some change. I like this decision because this is something that, as a Reds fan, we wouldn't see this time of year last year. We would be stuck with these guys. But what I like about it is that we have so much depth in the outfield. We have Blake Dunn. We have Dane Myers, who I still think should get an everyday nod. We have JJ Bleday. We also have Hector Rodriguez, who's really been shining here early on this season. And so, as we have depth, we got to tell our outfield, I'm not putting up with it. We need guys to perform at the major league level and perform now. And if you're not able to perform, I'm going to give an opportunity to Reese Hines here to, hopefully and see what he's capable of doing. Now, Hines, 40 games in the major leagues. He has recorded 7 home runs. He's batted 191, but he's had 17 hits. He's had 14 RBIs, 5 walks, 37 strikeouts. I feel a month, maybe 2 whole solid months, every game, getting out there, being in that lineup 5 days, 7 days a week, getting that push out there to really see what he's capable of is what's going to be key. Earlier this year, down in the minors, he's batting 354 with a 475 on base percentage. He has recorded 5 home runs, and 12 walks to his repertoire. So I'm excited to see Reese Hines get called up. I think this is a new look. And look, I think this is a clear indication to those who are on the roster now, to those who are down in the minors, keep putting up and producing. You will be noticed. And when players in the major leagues, your job is not secure. You show up, you play, you execute, and you have a role. But the moment you stop doing it is the moment you are taken out. And this is a clear example of that. I do hope that Noel V. Marte turns things around. Cincinnati Reds will take on the San Francisco Giants in a 3-game set. The Giants enter in with a 6-10 record. They are 4-6 on the road. They are on a 2-game losing streak, or 4-6 over the last 10 games, with a 2-game losing streak. They won to the Orioles last Friday, 6-3. They did lose Saturday and Sunday with the final scores of 2-6. They have manager Toby Ventino, who has been uh, who is adapting to the Major League Baseball. He managed the Tennessee Volunteers. He was 24 and 19 last season, 16 and 14 in conference play in the top 12 as the organization. He helped lead the team, managing the team to a national and a SEC championship in 2024. Look, this is you're going to have your ups and downs, and there's a different type of strategy as a college manager to a major league manager. It's not like he's jumping up slowly where he's getting, hey, we're going to have you manage the minor leagues for a year. No, this is directly from college to big leagues, and maybe you could get away with that in football. Okay, we've seen that happen, but it's not going to be so sunshines and roses when it comes down to baseball. So we'll see what he has to offer. I think this is a great series for the Reds to bounce back, take advantage of this team who really hasn't been performing. I highlight Patrick Bailey out there more so for his defensive abilities behind the plate, throwing out runners at second. I think he's still a elite catcher. The Giants have been able to capture with Buster Posey, Patrick Bailey, some really good catchers in the past. Luis Arias, a left-handed batter. He's had no home runs. And see, the deeper we get into this season with no home runs, and now we're at Great American Ballpark, I kind of get that feeling and that urge something gives and something is going to do when it comes down to Luis Arias. So we'll pay attention for him with that this week. Matt Chapman and Casey Smith, they both play third base. Chapman's batting 290, Smith's batting 368. I expect them to be in the roster on a daily basis, maybe a DH role, another position role. So look out for those two, kind of your two best hitters with the organization. Rafael Devers, not playing so well to begin the season, batting 222 with 2 home runs. Like I said, let's get back to the winning ways and let's get out to the take the series and at least be able to split this homestands before we begin a road trip out to Minnesota beginning Friday. Tonight, the game you can watch first pitch scheduled for 6:40 on Reds TV, or you can listen to it on WLW 700. The Giants will have left-handed pitcher Robbie Ray on the mound. He is 2-1 with a 2.08 ERA. Last pitch back on April 7th against the Philadelphia Phillies. He won the game, pitching 6 2/3 of an inning. He only allowed 3 hits to no runs, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. One of the better pitchers in this rotation, expecting him to give a solid outing. Well, the Reds will be sending out right-handed pitcher Brady Singer. He's 0-1 with a 7.71 ERA, looking to turn things around from his last outing back on April 8th against the Miami Marlins, where he picked up his first loss of the year, only going 2 2/3 of an inning, giving up 10 hits, 5 runs, 0 walks, and 3 strikeouts. I think of this game, and I think that you talk about a perfect opportunity. The offense to get going and to quiet Robbie Ray. Brady Singer needs to elevate himself and push himself to have a better outing this go around. I mean, this series, nonetheless, is the series where we cannot allow anything to get behind us moving in here in the middle of the month of April. So, like I said, that is our matchup for tonight. Expecting some big things headed our way. Um, Looking forward to in our upcoming series. Let's take a look at the NL Central. Last night, Pittsburgh Pirates put up 16 runs as they beat the Washington Nationals 16-5. The Phillies put up double digits, beating the Cubs 13-7, and the Guardians beat the Cardinals 9-3. Tonight, the Washington Nationals, Pittsburgh Pirates, game number 2, first pitch at 6:40. Game number 2 as well between the Cubs and the Phillies at 6:40 as well. The Toronto Blue Jays began a 3-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers at 7:40, and at 7:45, the Cleveland Guardians take on the St. Louis Cardinals. Another highlighted note, I was kind of interested in the 16 runs Pittsburgh put up. O'Neil Cruz went 2 for 3 with 2 walks. Brandon Lowe, 3 for 5 with 5 RBIs. And Brian Reynolds, 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Spencer Horwitz and Brandon Lowe all hit a home run in last night's campaign. History made it in the Bronx last night as double digits final score from both teams, a combination of 21 runs as the Yankees beat the Angels 11-10. Both Aaron Judge and Mike Trout hit a two home runs each, walk-off win by a wild pitch. And then also Trent Grisham hit 2 home runs, including a game-winning tying home run in the 9th inning. First time since 2 3-time MVP players hit multiple home runs in the same game. That was dated back since June 21st, 1956, with Farmer Stan Musial and Roy Campanella. So some history made in the Bronx last night. Take a look at the college baseball here real quick as the UC Bearcats, Cincinnati Bearcats baseball gets ready to take on Xavier Musketeers. First pitch at 6 p.m. at the UC Baseball Stadium, available at ESPN. If you are attending tonight's game, they're asking fans to wear red. Also, the new head coach for men's basketball team, Jared Calhoun, will throw out the first pitch in tonight's ball game. A couple interesting facts heading into this game. Quentin Coates, second in the county with total bases, 7th with RBIs, 15th in slugging, 17th in hits. Cincinnati is 20-5 when scoring 6 or more runs, 10th in hits in the last 4. They've had 10-plus hits in the last 4 games. Xavier Josh Stonehouse leads the team with 12 home runs, most in the Division I, second in the county among freshmen and sophomore. Xavier Musketeers enter in with a 16-21 record, 6-3 in conference play. They are on a 4-game winning streak, and they are 9-15 on the road. Their 4-game winning streak comes at the hands last Tuesday against Wright State, where they won 4-2. They swept Villanova over the weekend, and they look to continue their hot streak. The Cincinnati Bearcats are also on a hot streak as well. The 24-14, excuse me, with the 6-9 conference play on a 1-game losing streak, 14-5 at home. They beat Miami, Ohio 8-7 last Wednesday. They took 2 out of 3 against Baylor, losing on Sunday 3-8. Last time they matched up was back on March 24th earlier this year, where Cincinnati lost by 1 point after leading the game majority of the time. They lost to Xavier 4-3 on the road. So they're looking to change things around. All right. Well, that is all the time I have for you guys today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to today's episode. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. We will have a lot more sports conversations to you tomorrow, talking some wrestling, the Hall of Fame class, as the road to WrestleMania week continues tomorrow at noon. You can also follow us on our social media page. We're on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram at TNC Sports Talk. You'd also download this episode on our audio platforms. We're available on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Take us on the road with you wherever you go, at home, in the car, in the gym, or in the office. Listen to us at TNC Sports Talk. For more information, check out TNC Sports Talk YouTube page. And until tomorrow, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.